China, the Forza Racing Championship Chevrolet Cup. We're here at the largest gaming convention in the world amongst the sights and sounds of ChinaJoy to find out who the fastest driver in the region is. The competition is going to be hot. I mean, on the track, sure, but also in the air here, it is boiling. Drivers are going to have difficulty concentrating. It's going to be all about keeping consistent at this incredible event. So who's going to win? We're here to find out at the Forza Racing Championship Chevrolet Cup.
And welcome in, folks. We got a great weekend of racing coming from you. We're here in Redmond, Washington. We've taken over the mixer set here on the campus of Microsoft. We're actually in the Xbox area here. So we got a lot of cool stuff. Scott Cole along with Brian Meckenberg. Brian, tell you what, we got a good racing going on in China at ChinaJoy.
Yeah, it's amazing. ChinaJoy, of course, one of the largest game shows in the world. If you imagine E3 and Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show sort of all combined into one, you know, thousands of thousands of visitors.
Crowds.
Yes, and a massive building too. So we have an Xbox booth there. Forza Motorsport 7 is there, and of course the ChinaJoy Invitational, the Chevrolet Cup for the Forza Racing Championship is there as well. So we've got brand new competitors. Some folks, at least one guy we've seen before, but a bunch of brand new names, and that's going to be exciting for us because really we're opening the door to a brand new sort of space for Forza Racing Championship. Obviously, we've been in New York, we've been in Europe, but we're in China for the first time. It's really exciting. Yeah,
you talked about that Man Love car. You know, he's going to be racing under Viper D today. We'll talk a little bit more about the teams and the racers. There's going to be 16 of them today. They're going to be racing in 2 races each, so 4 races total coming your way today. And then tomorrow we'll have the grand finals, and that's really what's going to get down to is what kind of racing are we going to see? We don't know a lot of these names.
Yes.
Is it going to be rubbing as racing? Is there going to be a lot of crashes? Or is Asia going to step up and show, hey, we're just as good as the folks in Europe, we're just as good as American racers, and we're ready to step up and go against a Lage or a Lightning?
It's just like you said. We were looking at the qualifying events that they did. I was looking at the leaderboards. These guys are typically anywhere from a second to 3 seconds off the top ForzaRC guys, but that's just hot lapping, right? I mean, you can tell they're all top 100 guys on these leaderboards, so fairly quick, faster than you or I certainly. But
yes,
what's interesting is that's hot lapping, right? But of course, as we've seen in ForzaRC, racing around other cars is a very different experience. We know that the ForzaRC guys, the names we're familiar with, are quite skilled. They race fairly clean. Today, we don't know what we're going to see, and I think that's what's exciting. We're going to, just like you said, are we going to see some guys, you know, pushing and trying to get out of control here just to make something happen, or are they going to be relatively clean? We're going to discover it together for the first time.
Some names: Viper D and J Rich. Those are going to be the 2 guys, and the interesting, they're on 2 different teams. You got Tama, and then you got MGC, and these are new names to us. We'll stumble across them as I just did, but I think by the end of the weekend, these are names that will just roll right off the tongue.
Will one of these teams or both these teams line up with car? Will they be BAM? Will this be the next TX3? This is the kind of things we're getting our first glimpse at these powerhouse teams in China. We'll see how they stack up to the rest of the premier ForzaRC teams.
So we're going to be here in Redmond, Washington, here on the Microsoft campus. We've taken over the Mixer studio. We'll be bringing you all the action that's going on in Shanghai at ChinaJoy. Chevrolet Cup, some new cars we're going to see. Of course, you expect the Corvette like we have right behind us but there's going to be some other cars that's going to throw them for a loop.
It's always the car and track combinations that are so fascinating, right? You put this car with this track, and just magic can happen, right? It could be a really complementary selection, or they could be fighting each other. You're right, we've got a bunch of Chevys today. We've got some mid-sized, mid-powered stuff, B-class cars, and of course we've got cars like this that are amongst the fastest in Forza 6. So every car and track combination is going to be a different challenge for our racers.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what these guys are racing for as we move through the weekend. Big trophy that's going to be presented down there. But the interesting thing is they'll be having the opportunity for the winner to get a wild card position in a future ForzaRC racing event. That's really what they're racing for here, Brian.
I think so too. I think you're really stepping into a larger stage here. Obviously, it's our first time in China, but the winner here is going to get a chance to compete against the best in the world, the folks that we know, the names that we know. So real opportunity for one of these players. Is it going to be Man Love Cars? Is it going to be a brand new name that we haven't seen before? But whomever it is, they're stepping up into a larger stage for our next ForzaRC event.
We got 4 races for you today. We got a Group A, Group B, 16 drivers, and we are ready for race number 1 to come your way right now. All right, so these are the drivers that we're going to have in Group A. Viper D, who used to be Man Love Car, we saw him in Le Mans. Maverick Nong, Hawking 13, Chin Square, he's part of MGC J Rich, that's the guy to watch. Eason Chin, Thomas Chef, and then the guy that just goes ahead and types in all caps like he's angry, Paraxeline.
Yeah, we've got, these are our first 8 racers. Of course, Viper being Man Love Car, you mentioned he is a ForzaRC competitor. Hawking 13, should point out, he is now a member of MGC. So you'll see his name as part of the MGC team.
Well, I only know English, but I can tell by the shape, which is a funny one at this point. It's Zebra Club. That's where we're going to start off. What can you tell us about this track?
So this is sort of the twisty half of Sebring International Raceway. You have the full track has a little bit of everything. It has twisty curves, it has some really long straights, lots of different sort of materials, different materials from asphalt to concrete at Sebring. This part is definitely the more technical half of Sebring. Lots of, as you can see, heavy braking zones, 90-degree corners, and lots of places for the car to get upset because of those high banking corners.
Well, they're going to be in the Super Sport 2014, and this is a car that's not known for a suspension, but the LS3 is going to have plenty of power.
That's right. It's got plenty of power. This is a B-class car. This is sort of warming people up into the true speed we'll see later in the races. Here we go. You've seen
enough of you talking.
That's right.
We already missed the first 26 seconds. So here we go with Viper D out in front. Hawking's already moved up. There's Nong and Easton Chin. This is kind of your top 5 right now. And we're riding along with Maverick Nong. And I'm loving the Jeff Gordon, old DuPont racing there on the Super Sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see in these heavy braking zones just how much suspension travel that this car has, right? This car bounces all over. You need to be really careful with the edges here. You get the car off the edge here, or get him on one of those bumpier sections of the track. The car is going to be easily upset here. So these guys are going to have to be fighting that for this entire 10-lap race.
And so that's Hawking. He's riding the all-pink chrome rims. He is no shame in that man's game. 12 turns, 1.7 miles for these competitors over in ChinaJoy. We're in Seattle, we're here in Redmond, they're in China, and we're at a Florida racing track. So if you can triangulate that, pull out your globe, that's what's going down here as we hit lap number 2 of 10. And it's the guy that was racing in Le Mans, Viper D, Man Love Car. He's now Viper D. He's a big part of that Tama racing team. He's out in front.
And you can see Jay Rich, who we've been told from Ali, who's at ChinaJoy right now, Ali Tack, ForzaRC broadcaster. He's there right now helping out with
running sort of the camera for us. He's the guy that's deciding what cars we're going to see, and we'll hear from him later on today.
And you can see just how close Jay Rich is to Viper D right now. So
that's the matchup.
I think that's the matchup here in Group A. From all accounts, Jay Rich is a player to watch, and we know that Viper D is a fast guy because he was at Le Mans. He was one of the top 60 there at Le Mans. And he's rocking some sort of Uniqlo. That looks like a Uniqlo, like a
little anime.
There. Yeah, a little anime there.
And
looking good.
Of course, some of the, the JDM brands that we know, like Toyo, and we're going to see a lot of those. They head down the backstretch here. We're going to move into lap number 3. And
look at that. Jay Rich he might have hit him there at the back there. Looks like maybe some contact between Jay Rich and Viper D. He's trying to make something happen. And he paid for it.
And there's a little bit of a spin out there. Viper D able to keep some control.
But he lost some time.
Moving all the way back. That's number 5 spot. That's Eason Chen, who's trying to hold on. And he's moving up on Maverick Nong here. So that's the only thing I like about these lower class cars, the B classes. It has a lot closer racing. As you can see, really a logjam as they move into that Towner corner.
You saw Hawking 13 take that corner a little bit wide. I felt like they might be able to make a move. Maverick Nong might have been able to get on the inside. He couldn't make it stick though. But yeah, they're trying things here. But like I said earlier, this car is easily upset. You can bounce this car around a lot all over Sebring, and they just need to be very careful. Of course, they're going as fast as they can, but this is not a performance race car or anything like that. They're dealing with a production car that's got some power, of course, but is not going to have that kind of race suspension you would expect to see in a true race car. And you can see, here's Eason Chen just trying to jump on top of the back of Maverick Nong and maybe slip on the inside. And you can see the players there. Heavy and constant. Oh, some contact there.
Trying to move through the hairpin here. That's that turn 1.
Oh,
lap forward. He's going to get turned all the way around. And that's, you talk about a lot of the assist being off. You get a little squirrely, and then you start pressing down on the accelerator. Next thing you do, you lose a lot of grip. Not a lot of grip in this vehicle.
Yeah, it looks like he either got too much power around there and spun himself around, or maybe had a sort of lag situation, because it looked like he was back on track there instantly. Not exactly sure what's happening there, but probably not exactly what he was planning at the top of this race.
We got 6 laps to go, and worth noting that Tama Paraxeline had some connection issues here in Group A, so he's going to be moved over to Group B, so that's where we're going to find him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Big fight here between, that looks like
that's
Maverick Nong finally got around.
Rainbow
Hawking.
Warrior there.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon style moves into 3rd. So we got Viper, Jay Rich, and Maverick Nong has found himself now running in the top 3.
And that's not what Hawking wanted. He is going to try to get that position back as fast as he possibly can. But Nong he looks like he's pulling away from this angle here. Down the longest bit of straight track you have at Sebring Club is right there. It ends at a very tight right-hander, lots of braking, and then you get right back on the gas. This is some tricky curves here. Sebring Club has a little bit of everything, and lots of places for the cars to be upset here. So
it's got 90-degree turns. It's got some big sweeping, the big bends you talked about on that backside. We get into the straightaway before you race your way back to the start-finish line. And so we're halfway through this one. Race number 1 of Group A. Group A will race again, and then Group B will, here in the 3rd race, will actually come back, and they'll start on this. So Group A, they'll complete race 1 and 2. We'll talk about the cars and tracks coming up on that one, but we've had some good racing this far. We didn't know what we'd see. We've seen a little bit of bumping, a little bit of control issues, but for most that I've seen, the skill's actually been pretty good here, Brian.
And that's what we're hoping for, right? We want to see some clean racing here. Of course, things happen on the racetrack. We've seen some contact, nothing catastrophic that we've seen so far, but these guys are racing hard. They're racing for the championship here. So a little contact, I think the guys in the adjudication room are probably going to let it slide, but they're looking out for the big wrecks, the big sort of intentional things that can really ruin a race. But like you said, been pretty clean so far.
And it's you see just getting a little off in the grass there as they work their way down that backstretch, going through the Cunningham turn here. This is one of the more tricky turns here at Sebring Club, and you're driving a 4,000-pound sedan.
That's right.
To start off the ChinaJoy Invitational.
Oh, look at this, Hawking, and is that Eason Chen or is that?
That is Hawking and Chen. Hawking in the pink, Chen.
They are side by
in the
side.
blue, and a little side-by-side racing as they come down to that right-hander, that tower 90-degree right-hand turn, and for now, Chen's holding him off in 4th, but Hawking comes right back to the inside. So some nice racing there, Brian.
And he was on the inside there, so he was looking to outbrake him there and get that inside line, and he pulled that off to perfection, and now Hawking is back in 4th place. And look at Chen right on his, this is great back and forth. They're looking to make something happen here, but it seems like neither driver can pull away.
4th and 5th, a battle here in lap number 7 of this ChinaJoy Invitational.
And look at Viper D. He's pulled out about a second lead over the second place driver, Jay Rich. So Viper's got to be feeling pretty good about where he is right now. A second lead. Things were looking pretty tight in the beginning of the race, but he seems to be opening up a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, it's taken 7 laps for him to get the before-mentioned gap, and that's what we talked about. That Class B, you're just, in the B class, you're not going to have that leader be able to get out there and run away and hide. But Viper D's done a nice job thus far in proving that he belonged in Le Mans and he belongs here at ChinaJoy.
And you can see Eason is just, I think he's getting a little desperate right now because Hawking is pulling away. And here he is. Here's Viper D in the lead. You can sort of see the icon that's happening sort of beneath his car there. It's telling you that Jay Rich is approaching, right? When you're playing Forza 6 and you see that icon come up, oh, somebody's behind me. So he's aware of how close that Jay Rich is behind him, but he seems like he's driving really well, driving with confidence here, not making any silly moves, just trying to race his race. And they always say don't race the players that you're racing against or race the other drivers, race the track. He's just trying to get, at this point when you're at the front of the race, you're just doing hot laps, trying to race as fast as you can. Don't worry about who's behind you.
Well, less than 100 feet separated them as they move through that turn. We're in lap 8 of 10 here in race number 1 on Sebring Club, and right now we talked to Ali in our pre-race talks before we got on the air that Viper D and Jay Rich were going to be the 2 drivers to watch, and he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, if you look at it, there's a 7-second gap between second and third place. So you've got Viper D and Jay Rich, and then the rest of the pack there. So you're definitely seeing the class of A class here. The Group A, I should say, is right here in first and second position. But you know what? Points are available throughout this race. So if you can get a 3rd place here, get a 4th place, rack up some points, you never know what's going to happen in the second race.
Yeah, that's all you're trying to do here in this group stage is you're trying to race well enough to move on to the next day. So post a good time in race number 1, then you see what you need to do for race number 2 to be able to move on to the finals. And I'll tell you right now, Viper D and Jay Rich, as we got about 2 laps to go, you can see our competitors there are locked in over there in ChinaJoy. And
you wonder if they're like, if they're perfectly happy in first and second right here, or if Jay Rich is like, nah, I want first place. Forget what we're saying. He wants that 25 points for first place because that's going to guarantee that he has to do perhaps less work in the second race.
And so many times we see the 2nd and 3rd place be the battle. And I think right now you mentioned 3rd place is so far back as he gets off on the side.
Not exactly
Jay
sure.
Rich.
Oh, I think that there's some sort of connectivity issues here.
All right.
Because he's back in the race there. That looked like a bit of a lag thing. I can't imagine Jay Rich would have just turned off on lap 9 there.
Humanity, what are you doing, Jay Rich?
He felt he had it in the bag. He's like, I'm just going to...
No, I'm good. I'm going to pull off to the side, have a cappuccino, and I'll finish the race later.
Well, there's so much space between 2nd and 3rd, he might have felt like he could at this point because it is really a 2-man race at this point.
They're only like 7,000 miles away. Can we have a little bit of leniency to what's going on
I
here?
know, right? Exactly. So, yeah, it looks like these guys are in really good position to score the 25 points for first place, the 18 points for second place. These 2 will be really well set up for moving forward in race number 2.
So final lap, and what I was going to say before we saw him pull off on the side, that actually didn't happen, was he's got some space between him and 3rd, so you feel like, well, maybe I can take a gamble and it wouldn't hurt my positioning. You don't want to drop down to that 15 points. And we talked about it. This is the race for 7 extra points. And I think that's what you're seeing here as we move to the final lap.
We say this is a race for points, but there's only 2 races in this group, right? So you got to make them both count. You got to make both of these races
You normally
count.
have like a 3rd race that sets it up, but with the 2 races, there's a bit more pressure.
Well, he's trying.
Whew.
I mean, we're talking about this, and we felt like maybe he's feeling okay in 2nd place. You see that car spinning, the rear end of that car getting loose.
He's pushing it.
He's pushing it. Yeah, he wants a win here, but you can't blame him. First race in ChinaJoy, he wants to establish himself and say.
And he knew Viper D. He knew the name. He knew Man Love Cars. Now Viper D, part of this Tama
Look
Racing
at this,
Club.
Viper gets
He's coming
pushed
to
wide.
The inside through Big Ben, and we might have a photo finish.
Wow.
They're coming down, and Jay Rich, patience is a virtue, and he will unofficially take it.
incredible.
Wow.
You wonder if that was a mistake from Viper D. I think it was, because I didn't see any contact between those two cars.
Just got loose.
He just went a little wide, opened the door for Jay Rich, and he was pushing.
Yes.
You know, he wasn't satisfied with second place. He's like, I'm going to take advantage of this, and unofficially, he is your winner.
Well, that was an exciting first race with a great end. Brian, what'd you see?
Well, I think there was two stories there. Of course, there was the race for first and second. We saw Viper D leading for the vast majority of this race, 95% of this race, but it's that final corner accident that allowed Jay Rich to take advantage of it. And what we saw was a ForzaRC competitor, a person we know, actually finished second here in ChinaJoy for the first time. So a surprise there right out of the gate. And then there was a lot of back and forth there, third, fourth, and fifth between Hawking, Maverick Nong, and Easton Chen. We saw a little bit of that in the midpoint of the race, these guys jockeying for position, going back and forth, trading spots here. We saw some contact between these guys as well. I think they were getting a little rough. We actually do have a penalty for Maverick Nong, which took him from third place to fourth place overall. He got a 5-second penalty for some contact, I believe. So that's what the adjudication guys are there for. We have a whole
tell us. I mean, you know, we do all this all the time, right? So for us, it's another walk in the park. It's another great weekend. Those that might be tuning in for the first time, especially some of our new folks, tell them about the adjudication process where you're like, wait, I saw Maverick Nong finish third. Why is he all of a sudden fifth?
Well, it's just what we were saying at the end of the race. Those were provisional results, right? Because that's how they finished in the race. But adjudication is all about, did they adhere to the rules? There's rules in racing. You can't cut corners. You can't make contact. So all of these things play into the final results. And we have a crew at ChinaJoy that are watching every racer. They're looking at every race, every corner, every racer, and looking at those, trying to make those judgment calls of, was this an intentional crash? Was this an intentional cut? We have rules about, you know, all four tires, 2 of the tires have to be within the white lines, those kinds of real hardcore racing rules that racing fans expect. That's what the adjudication crew is there for, to make those calls. So when we have a case like Maverick Nong, unfortunately, he garnered a 5-second penalty, took him from third to fourth place.
Well, this guy, it will give away spoilers. I'm going to show you the real leaderboard right now. It's Jay Rich up on top. Viper D, as you mentioned, was really the front runner coming in. He's going to finish second. So close, 0.3 of a second. Hawking, Maverick Nong sliding down to fourth place with that 5-second penalty. Easton Chen, Chef, and Chin Squared, who we didn't see a lot of, mostly because they were all the way in the back.
Yeah, maybe there is something to Hawking rocking that pink car, right? Maybe he's got some mojo in that pink.
Well, so race number 1 in the books. Mostly clean, though. We didn't know what we were going to see, except for some bling bling. You talked about the hot pink car. We had Jeff Gordon, Rainbow Warrior. Like to see that happening down in China. But, you know, the interesting thing here was, I think, to me, it felt like just another ForzaRC race as the way they performed, the way they had the gentlemen racing on the track. There was some bumping, but nothing that was too severe.
Yeah, and bumping is normal, right? You see that in NASCAR. You see that.
Rubbing is racing.
You got it. That's part of practically every form of motorsport. A little contact is not going to ever be a problem. It's when you're pushing cars off the track. That's what the team is really looking for. And it's great to see that these guys are racing at a high level and being respectful of one another, because that way everybody is hopefully satisfied with the results, the competitors and the viewers alike.
Well, we need to catch our breath for a second there. That was a great end to race 1 for Group A. And all right, I put my pre-order in. Can I just take a tangent here? I put my pre-order in. Forza.
Yes.
7 is going to be amazing. We've all seen the screenshots. We're going to show you the trailer here in a minute. Can you give me a nugget, man? I came all the way from South Carolina out here to Seattle. We're here on the Microsoft campus. Can you give me a nugget?
Well, Scott, you know I'm going to talk about Forza. You give me a chance to talk about Forza 7. I'm going to talk about Forza 7 as long as you want. Why don't we take a look at that trailer first, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about it.
All right, Forza 7 coming your way soon. Check it out.
Play it on Xbox One.
All right, if that trailer didn't say enough, we got the man right here that's really got your hands into it. Coming out October 3rd, but I mean, what kind of things that we didn't see in the trailer that we might be kind of interested in for those out there that are really tuning in?
That trailer is amazing, though. Every time I watch it, it blows me away.
I'm good with that trailer. No complaints.
Yeah, it's amazing. Forza 7, of course, our biggest game yet. 700 cars, more than 700 cars in the game. Incredible track variety. You saw Dubai there, a new track in Forza Motorsport 7. You saw that 911 GT2 RS, our cover car. It's incredible. This is motorsport, right? This is a racing game where we had Forza Horizon 3 out last year. Forza Motorsport 7 is racing. We're all about bringing you that track experience. What's it like to be behind the wheel of these cars? I think one thing that people will really appreciate is when you're in cockpit view, for example. We've done all these things to bring that to life. It sounds better. It feels better. You see rattling parts in the cars as you're traveling at high speeds. We really want to convey that sense of you're driving these cars at the limit. But of course, massive content, an entirely new career, brand new ways of playing in multiplayer. But of course, this is 4K, right? Xbox One X coming out later this year. You're going to be able to play this game in true 4K, 60 frames per second. It's Forza like you've never experienced it before.
Well, there's 3 versions of the game here, and so let's help the folks out there decide what you're going to get here. Standard Edition, Deluxe Edition, and of course the Ultimate Edition. Walk us through this, Brian.
So yeah, of course, Standard Edition is the game. Of course you're going to get Forza Motorsport 7. You're going to get some pre-order bonus content that we'll announce at a future date. Stay tuned for that, of course. Deluxe Edition, that's when you're getting into cool stuff like VIP membership. You'll get the Day 1 car pack, which we haven't announced yet, but stay tuned. It's super awesome. Can't wait to share that with you guys. And the Ultimate Edition, where you get all of that. You get VIP, you get the Day 1 car pack, you get the pre-order bonus content, and you get that car pass, which is like 6 months of cars coming straight to you at the top of every month, right? New cars always injected into Forza and giving you new ways to play, new cars to check out. It's always part of the fun for Forza, that cadence of cars that you get. And of course, if you want to get in on early access for Ultimate, that's how you do it. The Ultimate Edition, early access starts on September 29th.
Well, that's the thing for me. When I'm looking at it, I need that early access, all right? Because you don't want to be the one that's sitting around while everybody else is going, oh my goodness, you can't believe it, it's amazing. I'm already this far in my career mode. I've already completed this many races. These cars are amazing. You're like, I don't have it yet. I got the Deluxe Edition. I'm just going to wait around a little bit. And so for those that want to get a little edge, the Ultimate Edition's out there, and that's cool because that's the way I like it. With the car pass and everything, I can just forget about it. I just know I'm going to get everything. And you got to have the VIP membership. You
got
just
to have VIP and
get a little boost.
You get the boost. You get the credit boost. You get and the thing I love about having that early access is get your paint jobs in there. Import your paint jobs from Forza 6 and Forza Horizon 3. That way, when everybody's playing it on October 3rd, when the game launches worldwide, you're already set. You got your paint jobs in store. You got a little bit of head start with your cars. You're good to go.
Well, that's enough of us here in Redmond talking about the future. A lot's going on. Let's go to the present right now. It's race number 2 here in ChinaJoy in Group A. There's going to be some positioning that needs to happen right now. It's going to be going down on Le Mans Bugatti.
Yeah, and of course we're revisiting Bugatti here because we saw it at ForzaRC. We saw both the Bugatti circuit and of course the full Le Mans circuit. This is Bugatti added in 1965 to the big track. It's obviously very different from Le Mans. When you think of the full Le Mans, you think of that long straight. You think of a really high-speed track that has some hard braking points. This has practically everything. This has a little bit of everything. Some fast straight going uphill towards the top, but after that you've got all sorts of left-right corners, falling away, some double apex corners as well. It's a real challenge. The
car is going to be the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, the 2015 version, 650 horsepower. About time we got a little vroom vroom under the engine.
We're going up several classes here in Forza 6, from B class with the Super Sport in the last race, all the way up to S class. This is 719 PI, so not at the top of S class in terms of PI, but a very powerful car. This car actually probably has more grip than power though, so I think if you've got some skill, you're going to be able to control this car pretty well.
We are all green here at Le Mans Bugatti circuit, as we talked about. We're going to see a little bit different racing here, and they're already getting off on the side.
I didn't see who that was, but something happened there. Chen Square is coming up the back here, and he went from 7th place to 5th. So good news for Chen Square, but it came at the cost of a couple of costly mistakes there.
And they didn't reset the grid, but Jay Rich had already taken over that top spot. So winning the first race, already in the second race, he has surpassed Viper D, so he's out in front. Chef is in 4th, and we're still riding along with Chen Square, as you mentioned. Saw the carnage in front of him, put on the brakes, and was able to keep himself onto the track, but he's still got some work to do.
And our man Viper D has a lot of work to do. I mean, this is a guy we were expecting to sort of dominate here, and now he's back in 6th place, I believe, and he's going to have to work himself up through the field if he has a chance of moving on to the finals.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate for him. Maverick Nong all the way in the back in 7th, and Chen Square is getting off on the side as well.
I think we're seeing that issue with connectivity there again. I can't imagine he meant to do that. I hope he didn't mean to do that. But look what we've got. We've got Jay Rich up front, and then we've got Eason, who was in that battle in the first race for that 3rd, 4th, 5th position. Great position right now, 2nd place overall.
Well, we're showing Chen Square right now all the way in the back. So Jay Rich, Eason, Chen, and like Hawking. Boy, just fighting it tooth and nail to get back. Was able to maintain that 4th spot as Chef goes by on the outside. So it's Chef, Hawking, and Viper, 3, 4, 5. Viper already back on the move, but you said before he's got some work to do here in lap number 2.
And he's got to get past Hawking, who we're looking at right now. And you saw Hawking at that double apex at the start, right before the start-finish line, struggling with the power of this car. This is the production version of the C7R race car. So there's a lot of power here. This car also has a lot of grip, but a lot of power. And you saw his tail wagging there as he tried to get under control, under acceleration there. And Tama is right on his tail.
They move through the Chapelle here. And you mentioned these 3 curves in succinction, all different, really is able to separate the driver.
Whoa, a little bit of contact there between Hawking and Chef. Okay.
That was Chef, and so Chef is dropped back into 5th. Viper is able to move himself into 4th place. So Viper finishing 2nd in our last race, Jay Rich finishing 1st. He's out in the lead right now, but Hawking has Viper all over him right now.
I think what Viper is thinking is I've got to be at 3rd place or better, right? Because he finished 2nd place in the first race.
18 points.
Yeah, he's in a good spot, but he doesn't want. I believe he's not going to be satisfied with 4th place here. He wants at least 3rd place just to secure that position into the grand finals.
And the MGC boys, that new team, new to us, is out in front right now, and Jay Rich leading the pack. And there's the #1 man for Team Tama. That's Viper D. It used to be Man Love Car.
Yeah, it feels like Viper versus the world here. Viper versus MGC alone. In the first race, we saw MGC score a total of 43 points. Tama's there representing his team with 15 points alone. So MGC coming out strong in this first group. We'll see how they do in Group B, of course, but Tama's a man alone right now. Just trying to make things happen. Viper D, I should say, for Tama.
In lap 3, they're moving through the Dunlap chicane. And that's what you didn't see with, the Sebring Cup. Getting a little squirrely there, a little tap between Viper and Hawking. Hawking was in that bright pink with chrome wheels last time.
He's got them all.
Settled for the Hugger orange with white stripes, more of a Chevrolet.
We were talking about this sequence earlier. This is a really interesting sequence of back and forth curves. And every one of these curves from La Chapelle, they're going into La Musée now, will hit that double apex at the garage vert at the end of this straight. Every one of these turns is slightly different and requires a little bit different extra action on the stick, right? The first curve that La Chapelle is sort of long and flowing. The La Musée sort of opens up, and then here that double apex, you got to nail those apex points if you want to have momentum coming out into the long straight down to the chicane that's coming up here on the left.
And you see Hawking handling that garage vert a little bit better than Viper, and you can see the separation coming out as they head down into that little chicane there. And here in the 3rd lap, it's been Jay Rich way out in front. So MGC running 1, 2, 3. And Viper has some sort got to have some strategy here of how he's going to get around Hawking to get that valuable top 3 spot.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough. We saw Hawking fight pretty hard in that first race. Jay Rich has got to be feeling really good right now. He's in a similar position he was.
There he is.
He's got that position. He's got what 700 feet between him and second place. So that's kind of an eternity in Forza Motorsport 6 at this level. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about things. You know he's checking his mirrors. You know he's looking behind, always keeping track of who's behind him. But right now, boy, I hope he's relaxing and realizing that this is his race to win.
What have you seen out of these new racers like Jay Rich, Hawking, some others? Is Viper trying to push in there, and then Hawking gets off to the side, so here comes Viper on the inside, little rubbing as they move through La Chapelle.
You saw exactly what happened there. Hawking was trying to protect his inside line. He broke too late, which meant he went way outside on the track, and then Tama Viper D just took advantage of it and went on the inside of him.
See the other half of our Group A there. And you know, the interesting thing here is you go from that B-class car to an S-class, and all of a sudden the track is much different, the car is much different, and like you said before we got going to race one, is these aren't hot laps anymore. I mean, you got a guy breathing down your neck.
And that's where it's always the mistakes happen. You know, these guys are fast on the leaderboard. We've seen that in the qualifiers they were in. But when you have that sort of approaching dot on your car, you see that guy coming, but even if you're not looking behind you, you have that sort of proximity meter coming. And as it's getting darker and darker, you know, okay, this guy's right behind me. It's a matter of, can these guys handle the pressure when, as in we see here between 5th and 6th, Thomas Sheff and Maverick Nong. Nong is pushing Sheff right now and hoping for a mistake. I don't think you're going to get around the outside here. He's hoping that he'll outbrake him and dive on the inside, just like you saw right there, exactly. A little bit of contact there, so not the cleanest pass, but that's what Nong was hoping for.
Well, I don't think he's going to be, you know, we'll have to see when we get the adjudication process, but it seemed like Sheff got a little loose there, and Nong just trying to move by. It was Nong that got hit with that 5-second penalty that moved him from 3rd to 4th, costing him some points here in race number 1 of Group A. And so now he's got to try to make a move. A top 3 finish for him.
Oh, and you see him getting wide there and getting passed again by Sheff. So Sheff takes back the position. And just those get a little outside on the car slow down, and the other, you know, the guy right behind you takes advantage.
And we see this in all levels of racing. You work so hard to pass someone, then when you finally pass them, you sort of relax a little bit, sort of maybe start to check your rearview mirror. And next thing you know, you make a mistake out in front of you, and Sheff's able to retake that 5th position. So big battle between 5th and 6th right now. Jay Rich out in front, and that man right there, Maverick Nong, his car's seen better days.
Yeah, and he's got some scratches on there. You know he wants that position back. All these points are counting for these guys. So these guys are racing hard. They're racing for that 4th place spot. You know, they didn't have the greatest finishes in race number 1, so every point counts for these guys. They're hoping to squeak into that top 4 and make it to the grand finals.
That's your man right now, the man of the hour, Jay Rich, way out in front. And, you know, and our main man, Ali, said, you got to watch out. This is the man to watch for. And we're like, come on, Viper D is in this.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Viper D is the guy. And it's really been Jay Rich that's come in and sort of stolen the show. And there is Viper D. He's now worked his way into 3rd place. So he was all the way back in 6th after that carnage, but he's managed to work his way all the way to 3rd. And with coming up on just 2 laps remaining, can he make that move on Easton Chen? That's going to be the big question right now with Jay Rich way out in front going into the chicane.
Yeah, I don't think he's thinking Jay Rich at this point. I think he's probably doing some math in his head. Said, do I have enough points to qualify right now for the finals? Because if so, I'm going to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you saw what happened in that first race. There was the last corner, 1st and 2nd switched places. So if I'm him, he's definitely looking in his rearview mirrors. But as you said, great job to get from 6th place into 3rd place and hopefully into a spot where he can make it into the finals.
When you talked about the rearview mirror, well, it's Hawking. Hawking right behind him. So right now, Viper finds himself in an MGC sandwich, and that's not where you want to be between Easton Chen and Hawking 13. And you wonder, you talked about that. Hawking 13 came in as sort of an unteamed guy, and we see this at a lot of events. You meet some people, next thing you know, you're signed up with a new team, and now, although you're really racing for yourself, there's nothing wrong with having a teammate 2 in front of you when you're trying to make a move on Viper.
Yeah, and you wonder if these guys, you know, we've seen footage of them racing side by side there at ChinaJoy. You wonder if they're doing any communication or they're trying to just race their own races. I suspect it's where they're keeping to themselves, but it might be in the back of their mind of how can I help my teammate here? How can I ensure that my MGC friend is also in the racing? That's got to be a connection issue.
Yeah.
That can't be what's happening right now. But look at this. We've got.
You're so calm and cool about that. I'm going, oh no, the humanity! And you're like, oh yeah, probably something.
Viper D and Eason Chen. Viper D is not holding back. He wants second place.
Yeah, and I think that's what you got to do. You got to try to push yourself right now. But these are the things you talked about. We talked about it race number 1. You push yourself for that extra position, the extra points, with the gamble of, do you maybe give an opportunity for the guy in 4th place that's honking 13 to have an opportunity, and he's trying to get on the inside of Eason Chen right here in the final lap.
Yeah, he's pushing. You can see he is coming dangerously close to cutting some of these corners, getting 2 or sometimes 3 corners, 3 tires off the track here. We'll see what adjudication has to say. But look, he's right on the rumble strips there. That's telling me he is pushing. He is trying to get this car dove into the inside there and trying to make something happen on Eason. Oh, look at this. Goes wide. He goes wide.
Hey, there's our counterparts there.
Looking good.
Over there in ChinaJoy.
But Eason made it stick. You saw that. He went a little wide out there at, I believe that was La Musée, but he kept his position, so good for him.
Here we come back to the line. Down this baby straight right here, and the final lap. Still got some corners and turns ahead of him to try to make a move. Eason Chen trying to hold off Viper D.
Quick right, left right there. A lot of braking, but actually not a lot of braking. You can get through there pretty quick, but it's a gamble. It's easy to, if you miss that sort of left right there, you can get off in the sand there and sort of ruin your race. But look at Jay Rich right around the final corners here.
Yeah, just a Sunday drive on a Saturday for Jay Rich, and he is going to be the back-to-back unofficial winner here. And coming back to the line, Eason Chen will hold off Viper D. Hawking's going to be behind there, so you got to give a little tip of the cap to Viper D, because he, after that carnage fall all the way back to 6th, fought his way up into 3rd place.
Great job by Viper D, and a great job by Eason Chen. Remember, he finished 5th place in race number 1, so finishing this far up could be the difference between not getting in the finals and racing on Sunday.
Excellent point. Well, Group A, race 2 is in the books. Jay Rich is your man, and what did you see on that race?
Well, like you said, Jay Rich turned in a really impressive performance. Walked away, especially in that second race. He looked very comfortable. Looked like he knew exactly what he was doing. I think he was even more comfortable in race 2. Maybe he likes those S-Class cars because it seemed like he was not troubled at all. And on the other side, a little bit further down the pack, we saw a great drive from Eason Chen and Viper D, of course. He had an early accident, fought his way back through the pack amongst some pretty motivated drivers to finish where he did.
Well, let's take a look at the final race results for race number 2 for Group A. It's Jay Rich in the front, just like we thought. Eason Chen in 2nd. Hawking, though, moves up into 3rd place because Viper D with a 10-second penalty. And Brian, you talked about it during the race, late in the race, that you saw Viper D starting to push it a little too hard, starting to cut some corners. And my amateur looking at it eyes, it looked like he might even cut Garage Vert, one of those final turns altogether. He gets a 10-second penalty, so he's in 4th, Nong in 5th, Chef in 6th, and then Chin Square all the way back in 7th. He finished 7th back-to-back. What do you think of that penalty? That's absolutely a crucial one for Viper D.
We were talking about it in the race. The guy was definitely pushing things. We saw him, as soon as you get in Forza, as soon as you start getting on those rumble strips, especially on the inside, you're just trying to cut off a little bit more real estate and make up a little bit more time. I think that's what was happening there. The adjudicator saw it and gave him a penalty for it because he just cut a little bit too much.
Well, that's the good news, is they're watching every car.
Right. That's right.
We're showing the ones that we think are the most important at that point of the race. They watched the entire 7 laps, and so a 10-second penalty to Viper D. And so let's now take a look at the final placements for the Group A. Jay Rich on top, back-to-back wins, 50 points. Hawking able to finish with and get 15 points on both sides. and 2 third-place finishes for him. So he finishes with 30. So does Viper D. So both those guys tied there at 30. Hawking will be in grid number 2. And then Eason Chen, you talked about how big it was for him to get a second-place finish in race number 2. Well, that's the cut line, leaving Nong, Chef, and Chin Square not moving on to tomorrow.
Yeah, it's too bad for those guys, but you really have to give it up for Eason Chen. You know, he only had 10 points in that first race, so he knew he had a lot of work to do, and boy, did he step up, nailing that second-place finish, which gave him enough to get in the top 4. Congratulations to him.
One thing I will say for Nong, who had the 5-second penalty in race 1, that didn't cost him. You know, he still wouldn't have had enough points to be able to move up in the final 4, so he can't say what if on that. Great racing there in Group A. We got Group B coming your way here in just a moment, but something that piqued my interest here.
Yes.
Final Fantasy and Forza Horizon 3 are getting together for a project. Why don't you tell us about it, Brian, because I'm absolutely jazzed about this new thing coming out.
We are too. Now, this isn't the first video game car we've had in Forza, right? We did the Halo Warthog, we did the Chrysler 69 from Fallout. We've done another one. The Regalia is coming from Final Fantasy 15. If you've played that game, you know it's like the star of the game. It's like the unofficial 5th member of the cast. It's coming to Forza Horizon 3.
That is amazing. Another cool thing, man. It's all about cool things. My nerd level is so high right now. I want to show this to you. The newest car coming out for Forza Horizon 3. Okay, Brian, my nerd level.
I can see it. I can see it.
Over 100 here. How do we get this? It's a limited time. You only have till Monday, right?
That's right. This is a car that will be sent for free if you've played Forza Horizon 3 on Xbox One, Windows, whatever, or if you've played Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox. So if you've played those games, you will get.
Check.
That's right, me too. But you will get that car sent to you either in Forza Horizon 3, or if you haven't played Forza Horizon 3 but you've played Final Fantasy 15, you'll get a code via Xbox Live message saying, hey, here's your code for your free Regalia in Forza Horizon 3. And then, of course, we want you to go get Forza Horizon 3 and drive that thing around. It's awesome. Now, it's not available everywhere. I think Russia and Canada, unfortunately, are excluded with the codes. But if you've played Forza Horizon 3 and you're there, you're still going to get the car. Yeah, it's a great car. Of course, this is a huge car. If you've seen it in the game, it's massive. It's like 21 feet long. It's incredible. It's a cruiser, right? It's a royal cruiser.
I need a cruiser.
Yeah, me too. So you can, roll through Surfer's Paradise with one arm on the wheel. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, it's a great car. I hope people really like it, and it's free. If you've played either game, you'll get it. But like you said, August 1st is the cutoff. So you have to play those games by Monday, right? August 1st if you want a chance to get the Regalia.
So if you're thinking about getting either of those games, you haven't got them yet, you need to get them if you want this vehicle because it's going to be awesome in your garage. So Group A in the books. It's now time for Group B. They're going to be going through the same 2 races. And without further delay, we're going to start right now. All right, Group B, here they are. Chic Pizza, Do Tuesday, Monster 86, Hydrogen, Dante, Storm Eye, James, and don't forget, Paraxeline was in Group A. They moved him to Group B, so maybe that's going to work out for him because he doesn't have to face Viper and he doesn't have to face Shayrin.
It might have been a blessing in disguise. What we're hearing is that Dutuzu is a privateer not associated with the team, but an early favorite here.
Okay.
They like him in Forza at ChinaJoy, so we'll see how he does.
Well, here we are. Finally, we're going to get a starting grid, and we're back on Sebring Club, and we're back in the Super Sport, and buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride, literally 10 laps What did you see from Group A on this track that you think these Group B'ers need to take into consideration?
Well, just that right there. Hard braking at the end of that straight, which means that if you brake too late, things can happen. People want to get on the inside of you, possibly knock you out, which we saw right there with that driver. Things are spreading out here early in this race. We were talking in the first race, these are B-class cars. You expect them to be a little closer at the start. But look, we see some gaps already opening up and some people going wide again here on this turn.
So Chic Pizza, Dutuzu in second place there. There's James. He's moved himself into 6th. Braxeline's in 7. Dante's all the way back in 8. We got a full 8 grid here. Only 7 on the Group A. This time we're going to get 8 drivers here in Group B. 4. We'll move on tomorrow to the finals. We already had 4 drivers punch their tickets, and they're waiting to see who out of Group B is going to join them tomorrow. They're in ChinaJoy. Course reminder, we're here in Redmond, Washington, here on the Microsoft campus. We've taken over the Mixer studio, Scott Cole, along with Brian Eckberg, and we've actually seen some pretty good racing thus far.
We have. You got to figure how. I'm sort of putting myself in the mindset of Paraxeline right now. He couldn't race in Group A. He's probably been waiting a long time to get into the racing, and now he finds himself, 9 seconds back from the leader. Whoa. In 7th place. Well, actually, it looks like he might have just made up a place right there. But we've got, who are we looking at here?
I think that was Yonder.
Is that Yonder?
No, Yonder's up in 3rd. It was
this
actually
is Stormeye. Boy, he
should have noted with the 818 on the back.
That's right. He's got a big mistake from him. Finds him back in 6th place, I believe. Expensive mistake for him, but again, it's that going wide, getting a little bit too maybe confident with your braking, and Sebring fights back when you make mistakes.
So Chic Pizza, which sounds delicious. Dutuzu, Wonder, that's your top 3 right now. We're on board with Wonder, and he's trying to hold off James. James trying to move to the inside, but Yonder, boy, he's not going to be able to hold him off. Here we're going, and you can see it.
Oh, we got hit from behind. Something
in the back, and that's going to cost him a ton of placement. Falls all the way back to 6th. He was going to have 3rd, and now he's in 6th. Get your penalties ready.
Yeah, you got to wonder if the adjudication team is going to be on that from a penalty standpoint. It looks like he got jacked directly from behind, knocking him into that wall and costing him 3 spots.
Go underneath the 60th anniversary Corvette logo here. It reminds us of the Chevrolet Cup from ChinaJoy, the Invitational. Think of E3 times a million. That's what's going on in China right now, and for Forza Motorsports to be a part of that. Awesome stuff through the first 3 laps here at Group B. We've had some carnage, but we also had some incredible racing at a Chic Pizza.
And he is 4 seconds ahead of Dutuzu. Now remember, Dutuzu is our privateer here. We've got MGC, we've got Tama, we've got PSR Dante, part of the PSR team, who we haven't seen yet so far. I believe he's still in last place. But in Group A, it was definitely a battle between MGC and Tama, with MGC dominating that from a point standpoint. Here's Dutuzu all the way up in 2nd place. He's not associated with the team, maybe not for long though.
Looking well, and so is Hydrogen, who's found himself now in 4th place, right behind Yonder 69 from PSR. That's the 3rd team we've seen today to join Tama and MGC. It's been all MGC early. And here in Group B, it's much of the same with Chic Pizza here in lap 3. Boy, I'll tell you what, Yonder, there's a look from his back bumper. He's got Hydrogen all over him.
Hydrogen is trying to make something happen here on the 4th lap of this race. Still got some time. Maybe he holds back a little bit and hopes Yonder makes a mistake. But no, he's trying to push things here, maybe force a mistake and grab 3rd place, which would put him well within that. You got to be in 4th place at the end of these 2 races to qualify for the grand finals.
Well, that's the thing. We saw Viper D on this very track, very car combination lead for about 98, 99% of the race.
Right.
But it was Jay Rich who made a pass. And that one, if you missed that one, that's something you're going to have to check out later on the VOD, because that was a big move that set up for Jay Rich to eventually take Group A. You can see the group there. Here in Group B, all focused.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Hydrogen is sort of feeling Yonder out here. He's sort of reacting to his braking. You can see him sort of moving around, trying to get a feel for Yonder's timing maybe on his braking. I think he's looking to make a move here, but you know, if he really wants to put some pressure, he's got to be a little bit closer. He's really got to fill up the mirrors of Yonder to make him feel the pressure and force him into that mistake without, of course, hitting him and getting the adjudicators involved. But he wants to be right there behind him to try to force that mistake.
400 plus horsepower in the sedan, 4,000 pounds. These guys are working around Sebring Club. It's Sheik Pete's out in front, and he's pretty much stayed there right now. Yonder's been stuck in third place as Pizza and Dutuzu have found themselves 1 and 2, and they've really tried to almost run away and hide from the rest of the pack.
I like what I saw from Sheik there. Actually, we were talking about in race 1 how bumpy these cars are, how soft the suspension is on these cars. At the end of that long straight, Sheik's car wasn't moving around under heavy braking a lot, which tells me he's pretty smooth.
And you see Storm Eyes in the back, and if you're just joining us, you're going, what the heck happened with Storm Eyes? He's got a car that looks like he should be fast.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a nice livery on it.
Yep.
The problem was he got off on the side, and that cost him valuable time. So he's all the way, he's the caboose of this train. He's back there in 7th, and at some point here, and he lost one. Dante is in F right now, so he must have took so much damage that he was unable to continue. So that is really crushing for Dante.
So you gotta at this point, he's got 2 chances. He's basically out. I mean, you're not gonna you DNF on one race in a 2.
You'd have to probably finish first on the next one. You have to get
you'd have to,
points.
and you'd have to hope for a complete reversal of the grid. You'd have to have a miracle here for Dante. So feel bad for him. Not exactly sure what happened to him, why he DNF'd this race, but there we are, and that means Storm Eye is actually in last place right now. He's got that racy-looking car, but he's definitely got some work to do to get some points banked here in race 1.
Paraxeline was supposed to be in Group A, but with connection issues, he's now in Group B there in ChinaJoy. We thought maybe that would play in his favor, but he's still back there at number 6, and James has fought from 6th to 5th, but remember at one point, Brian, James was making a pass for 3rd, and he got bumped from behind, and so that's going to be the drama. The drama might be in the adjudication when we get down to it. We've still got 4 laps to go.
Still got 4 laps to go, and I think that battle between 1st and 2nd is getting a little bit interesting as well, because I looked at the lap times, and the 2nd place car was actually running their previous lap was 2/10 quicker than our 1st place Sheik Pizza right now. So I don't know if that's enough time to make up when you're, looks like he's about, what, 100 and almost 200 meters behind him right now. But he's definitely the Dutuzu, that privateer, is trying to make something happen.
Well, we're seeing the telemetry here. Is that, I'm trying to get a close on, is that miles per hour? Did they have that? That had to be kilometers per hour on that screen. It was over 200. That had to be kilometers.
On this track, you're not going to be getting anywhere near 200. Yeah, those are definitely KPH.
Kilometers on the bottom right-hand corner. So I was actually starting to get really impressed. Like, okay, what's going on
He's
here?
going to.
But, you know, still said, you know, this is a sedan, but it's a powerful sedan.
Yep.
But it's that suspension that's very soft and deceiving.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to do kilometers per hour to miles per hour translated, but no, we don't want to do that. That would be too much math.
There would be no math.
That's right, not any math, hopefully. Here's Sheik Pizza. He's looking really smooth, like we said. He's driving away from Dutuzu, who's, like I said, was trying to chip in that lead there, but we don't see him behind Sheik Pizza right now, which means Sheik's in a good spot.
It's 2 90-degree right-hand turns. First Tower, then Rabbit, and Sheik Pizza makes easy work of those. And boy, he's just out for a little stroll. He's got Dutuzu about 700-800 feet behind him. And really, right now, it's all Sheik Pizza. The battles, as we look around, there's Yonder in 4th place. He was in 3rd for majority of the time, but Hydrogen finally able to get the best of him. So it's Hydrogen, Yonder, and James in that 3, 4, 5 spot.
Yeah, they're fighting for very important points here. I think you at least want 4th place here, right? If you're in 5th or 6th, you know you've got to pull off essentially a miracle in race 2 to earn enough points to qualify. But if you're in 3rd or 4th, you're like, okay, I feel like I maybe did enough. If I can match this performance in race 2, I think I'll be in good shape. But every point counts, of course.
Sheik Pizza, definitely your driver to watch right now. He's out in front. Dutuzu coming on as one of the guys that wasn't on a team, a privateer, and he's shown some nice racing here in race number 1. There will be a second race here of Group B as this Chevrolet Super Sport. And that's the cool thing is, maybe this sedan isn't the vehicle for you. You know, maybe you're more of a Corvette guy. We got the Corvette Z06 coming up next. So it's really both extremes. That's what I like about it. You got a B class that says, well, how can you handle a soft suspension sedan and then transition into the Corvette, which is the fleet of the class.
It's one of the beauties of the Forza Racing Championship, right? You have to be able to, if you're going to be successful in ForzaRC, you've got to be able to drive a variety of different types of vehicles. In this case, it's all Chevys, of course, but we're going vastly different in power types here. From a very soft suspension sedan, like you said, and in the next race, of course, we'll be back in that Z06, I believe it is. And it's a very different type of race. And if you want to be successful, you've got to be able to handle it all.
So Jay Rich, Hawking, Viper D, and Ishan Chin has moved on from Group A. This is Group B. Chic Pizza and Dutuzu are looking really good thus far. Hydrogen is trying to see if he can maybe be the third place contender here in our first race. 2 laps to go, about 1.5 as our leader makes his way through that rabbit turn. And boy, he has been from start to completion here. He looks like he's kind of just cruise to a victory.
Yeah, and that's important for him. You know, he's feeling a lot of confidence right now. You know, a first place win in race 1 means you don't necessarily have to work as hard at number 2. Now, I'm sure this guy's proud. I'm sure he's going to want to win number 2 if he can. But boy, think of how much pressure, how much relief he's going to feel if he comes across the line here in race 1 after 10 laps in first place. He's got to be feeling great.
So Yonder's in 4th. Hydrogen, that's who we're riding on with right now. Hey, showing off the Xbox One, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Hydrogen.
So he's in 3rd. Yonder's got some work to do behind him. Here in this final lap, I think 1st and 2nd are pretty much on lock. I don't think there's going to be a battle for 3rd here. Yonder's in 4th. James is in 5th.
You can see James is right behind 4th place there, less than 1/10 of a second there. So he is really fighting for that 4th place spot. Not sure there's enough real estate for him to make it happen, but he's trying to make something happen and get that 4th place spot and hopefully still be in the running for a grand final spot.
See off to the side just a little bit, but that's really not the case. Hydrogen rocking and rolling, and there she goes.
Oh, he's getting fancy.
Showing us, you need to sign up for the drifting contest.
That's right.
Works his way through Big Ben, and he's going to be the man to take the checkered flag unofficially here in race number 1 of Group B. Boy, Chic Pizza looking really good. Dutuzu will finish 2nd. Hydrogen 3rd.
And it looks like Yonder there in 4th place.
All right, Group B, race 1 in the books. What did you see, Brian?
Well, we might have a competitor for Jay Rich, right?
Yes,
because
I think so. Chic Pizza, a teammate.
Yep, a teammate, and he drove a spectacular race, seemingly in no trouble at all at any point in the race, driving so smooth, cruise to victory. It sort of is. We're already seeing storylines have developed for perhaps what the grand finals might look like. It might be head-to-head between 2 teammates.
What did you see in the middle and the back of the pack?
Well, I have to also point out Dutuzu, that the privateer. We were
a favorite.
Great to see him. Not connected to any of these teams as we were talking about earlier. Really strong 2nd place from him. And then the rest of the field, it was a little bit chaotic. We saw some contact. We saw one driver, hit from behind and knocked off the course. We saw one driver not finish. In
DNF
Dante.
for Dante.
Yeah, it's not exactly sure what happened there, but we do know he did not finish. So he's out of the running, unfortunately, for the grand finals. So sort of a different race from the Group A race 1. Lots of contact, lots of incidents. Kept that adjudication, the folks in the adjudication desk very busy.
Thanks for finally not spoiling the leaderboard. You're
I won't say anything.
As a broadcaster.
Thank you.
Right before our eyes, let's take a look at those results. Group B race 1, Chic Pizza, Dutuzu, Hydrogen, James, Paraxeline, Storm Eye, Yonder, and then Dante not finishing. And Storm Eye with a 10-second penalty and Yonder with a 5-second penalty. That'll drop those guys down to the back of the pack.
That's just what we were talking about. You saw that contact there. You saw these guys getting a little rough. This is what happens. This is the kind of things that, 10 seconds means a lot on a short track like this. And it brings Storm Eye all the way down to, 6th place and struggling heading into race 2 here.
And here we go, Le Mans Bugatti, and it's the Chevrolet Z06 Corvette Racing at its finest here for Group B.
And they're 3 wide heading into the first corner here up the Dunlop curves, and Chic Pizza's feeling really good in first place still, but we'll see if somebody can threaten him this race. Oh, somebody's wide there, somebody got off the track onto the dirt there. That's gonna look bad for the rest of their race. Not exactly sure who that is yet, but they're gonna have a lot of work to do to make that up.
And the sand more than David Hasselhoff. All right,
that's
Brian?
right, you got it.
Okay, that's my one. That's my one. 7 laps to go here. James is in 3rd place. Chic Pizza out in front. Yonder, we called him Monster 86, changed his name on us from the start of the grid for that first race. So
and
Yonder.
did you see that? James dives in on Dooku there, and that, I don't know if he made that stick. Yes, he did. Look at that, he made that stick. Dutuzu, sorry I messed that name up earlier, but he's in 3rd place now, and James seems to be running away.
Yeah, Chic Pizzas look good. James pulling away after that overtake of Dutuzu. Hydrogen back in 5th after that 3rd place finish just a race ago. Paraxeline is the one that I really thought would make some moves after switching from Group A to Group B. The question is, you know, did he have something happen in Group A where he connected and just is carrying it over into this Group B?
Are we seeing a DNF for Hydrogen there? Did I see that?
Yeah, he's off.
I don't know what happened to Hydrogen there. There's Dutuzu fighting again for James. Was that James, I think? No, that's Yonder we're looking at, who is making a move there. Oh,
boy, there's a big hit from Storm Eye, and now he's up into the barrels, and seen better days for Yonder here in this race.
I'm still curious, but now
Hydrogen's back and forth, so.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just a network issue that we're seeing, that some of the things are not being.
Hey, we're 5,700 miles away.
That's right.
Give me some.
It would just be a shame.
Some leniency here.
It would just be a shame to have introduced
hydrogen
to the world.
We barely knew these.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully his race is back on right now.
Yonder actually all the way in the back. Dante's in 7th, so Yonder got off on the side. It's going to be a question because Storm Eye kind of forced him over on the side after Yonder got off the sand. And so Storm Eye's in 5th, Dante's in 6th.
I'm seeing some unusual lines for some of these guys. It feels like they should be a little bit wider heading into these apexes, especially on these wide corners. Seems like they're sticking at the entrance a little too close to the rumble strips there. Feels like they need to be making the most of those angles and maybe get a little bit more momentum, especially in this car. It's a momentum race in this car. This car doesn't have as much power as it does grip, and you need to just keep as much speed as you can through all of these corners. And with so many different types of corners, it's a challenge for every turn on the track.
Paraxeline in that emerald color Z06, he almost got a little bit off the track there, able to straighten it out. He's in 5th place right now. Storm Eye, that's who we're riding along with, in 6th place.
And he is well ahead of Yonder, 1,000 feet or so ahead of Yonder, I believe. So he's got a little bit of a buffer room behind him, but boy, he's got to make some things happen if he wants to get into the finals here. He's going to have to make up some positions and score some points.
Anime fan at the finest for Paraxeline. Dutuzu's up in 3rd, and Chic Pizza looks like a man that is on a mission here in Group B, still way out in front.
Opening up nearly a 5-second gap to the 2nd place car right now, Chic Pizza is. Dutuzu, boy, he got passed by James and now is wondering what happened to his race. I mean, I feel like he's still in a good position after a 2nd place finish in race 1. He'll probably make it to the finals, but I think he probably would like to be fighting with Chic Pizza right now.
So James in 2nd, as you mentioned. Dutuzu right behind him. Paraxeline now in 5th, and Hydrogen just in front of him. That's who we're riding along with right now here in lap 3 as we move to those 3 big sweeping corners in succession, both double apexes, and this garage vert being the most drastic of them.
See what I mean? You saw it right there. He kind of went inside. He needs to be further outside to make the most. This corner in particular is La Musée, and it opens up, so you need to be making the most of that angle to get the most speed coming out of there. I feel like he's just taking a wrong line there. He might be trying to look on the inside. He's not close enough to Dutuzu to get inside and actually make that stick.
So Hydrogen still in 4th. That's who we're riding along with right now in the You know, the interesting things is, you know, you might be watching at home and saying, "Oh man, well, you know, I can whiz around this track." Well, there's a lot of assistance that's not on these vehicles. You don't have the driving lines, and if you wonder if that's affecting them, you're talking about moving from that online play to, you know, the live environment there in Shanghai of ChinaJoy, and even Hydrogen talked about just the amount of people that are walking around. It's a huge event. Think E3 times 10 over there in China. It's really the main event for gaming and electronics, and you know, you're on the big stage for the first time, and Sheik Pizza, it doesn't bother him. He's out there just riding around the track. He's already in lap number 4.
He looks like an old pro at this, and but you're absolutely right. You imagine, if you've seen photos of E3, if you've seen photos of Gamescom, you know that tens of thousands of people come to these shows, and watching you playing live for the first time in China, I can imagine these guys are feeling a tremendous amount of pressure, not just from the fact that they're racing their peers, but they've got eyeballs on them. Not just here watching live in China, watching our recap, or watching in person. These guys are under a lot of pressure.
We're here in Redmond, Washington on the campus of Microsoft here in the Mixer Studios. Forza has taken over to bring you this ChinaJoy Invitational brought to you by Chevrolet. The Chevrolet Cup, and right now Sheik Pizza, we're on board with them right now. And that's that classic Chevrolet blue that you see on the old Grand Sports from years past, and he is looking not only good in the paint department, he's looking good in the driving department, Brian.
Yeah, you can see right there, just a tap of the brakes in this left-right corner. It's faster than you might think. It's not, not slowing down to first gear here. This is a pretty quick corner, but as I said earlier in the Group A race 2, you can take this pretty quick, but it is a gamble, because if you mess up that angle wrong, you're going to go wide to the left, you're going to get hit by those rumble strips and upset your car. It's tricky. It's not as slow as it looks. It's actually a pretty quick corner. This part of the track is always really frustrating because it's so slow. It's a double apex going back across the start-finish, but it feels so slow. You want to be, a lot of this track is high speed, but the very end, that recordament, that complex of double apex corners, feels like, man, I want to get on the gas as fast as I can, but you have to take that slow and steady to get across that start-finish line.
It's still a little bit surreal for me. You know, we went to Le Mans France, and we saw that. And you see Sheik Pizza out in front as he negotiates the Dunlop chicane with expert tactician. Very technical racing out of him, but it's almost surreal, to see the Ferris wheel, and all that kind of stuff. It's just it really shows you how realistic this game is.
You can see Sheik Pizza is still pushing because that sector was green for him. That means it was faster than the previous lap. So he's on his 5th lap right here, and he's still pushing. There it is again. He's three tenths up on his time before. So it's good to see that he might feel comfortable here, but he's not. He's still pushing the car. He's still finding time in these corners, and boy, he wants 2 wins in a row.
And looking really good here in race number 2 of Group B. The question is, who in this group will join our already 4 drivers that have punched their tickets? Jay Rich, Hawking, Viper, and Easton Chin coming out of Group A. We got 3 laps to figure it out, and I can tell you one thing that I know for sure. That man right there, we're going to see him tomorrow. It's a noon Eastern time start, same time we started today. So hope you guys will come back and see the grand finals from ChinaJoy right there in Shanghai.
Let's look at the round 1 finishing. We had Sheik Pizza, Dutuzu, Hydrogen, and James. Right now we've got Sheik, James, Dutuzu, and Hydrogen. It's the same 4 racers, they're just in different positions. So right now, if things finish as they do, all 4 of these guys are moving forward.
It's kind of par for the course right now. Paraxeline is in 5th. He's trying to be a part of the conversation. The guy that got bumped from Group A is now in Group B, and we thought, well, maybe that would play in his favor because of Jay Rich and Viper, how strong the drivers they are. But it's proven that Sheik Pizza, Hydrogen...
And Hydrogen just got around Dutuzu's. Yeah. Dutuzu's now in 4th place. So, wow, we're really seeing something. We felt really good about Dutuzu in race 1. He had a very strong 2nd place finish.
And he takes it right back from his Hydrogen. Late on the braking. We talked about, we've seen it before. You pass someone, you're feeling pretty good. The next thing you know, hey, the track ain't stopping. You know, the
That's exactly
not
right.
stopping. That next corner's coming up, and it snuck up on Hydrogen there, and Dutuzu able to whip around back into third place, and that's 3 points. You got to think about it. It's all about the points.
You know how it is when you're playing Forza. You get around somebody you're not expecting, and you're like, "Oh, I did it!" And then, you know, you make a mistake because you feel like the work is done. No, as soon as you make that pass, the work is just beginning because you got to make it stick.
Well, Paraxeline has got the best view of them all back here in 5th place. You've seen an absolute battle between Hydrogen and, you know, Dututsu has looked really good in these first two. James has had some nice passes here and overtakes in this race 2 on the Bugatti Circuit Le Mans, but it's all Chic Pizza.
It is all
deliciously moving through these first 2 races, and
he's got all the toppings.
Yes, he is.
But listen, Paraxeline is knocking on the door here, but he's going to have to do better than 4th, and he might have to do better than 3rd in order to have a hope, because he finished 5th in race number 1. So he's going to need a serious finish, and looked like Hydrogen was spinning his tires there right at that final corner, Recordement, and he's under pressure from Paraxeline, and we'll see what can happen here, but Paraxeline has got to make some moves here.
1 lap to go.
Look at that Hydrogen.
Way off on the side.
Way offline.
Paraxeline will move up. So Hydrogen dropped to 5th. Paraxeline now in 4th, and
probably connection issue. Yeah, there we go. We're back to the race here.
I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn.
And here's Hydrogen fighting right back. Something happened there to these guys, and these guys are going absolutely back and forth, fighting for that fourth position. And you know, Paraxeline is looking up to Dukuzu and trying to see if he can get that 3rd place finish and get those 3rd place points.
Chic Pizza way out in front. The big battle right now is 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and that's the cutoff point.
Yeah.
You know, finishing, the difference between 4th and 5th could be the difference between, are you racing tomorrow, or are you going home? And they got just a half a lap to go as they move around the backside here, get through that garage vert. Big double right-hander. And
you can see the fastest time there for Hydrogen was a 1:49. It's amazing. These cars are S-Class cars, and it's still nearly a 2-minute lap here at Bugatti, the Bugatti Le Mans circuit, 2.6 miles. You know, this is not the fastest circuit in Forza. Even powerful cars are going to take 2 minutes to get around this relatively short circuit.
A lot of twists, a lot of turns in this Bugatti circuit as we come around. Chic Pizza's already done. James is coming across the line right now, and
he's got to make something happen here in this final corner. Hydrogen does. Otherwise, Paraxeline's going to finish in fourth place, I should say.
Yeah, Paraxeline able to close the door there, so Hydrogen will finish 5th unofficially. Yonder will finish 6th. Well, a heck of a race 2 for Group B. What did you see out there, Brian?
Well, we saw another sterling performance from Chic Pizza. Really the class of this group. He kind of had no pressure in either race. We said at the end of race 1, he's like, this guy didn't have much trouble. He didn't have much trouble in race 2 either. What we did see is Dutuzu sort of struggling in this race. Remember, he started in 2nd place, finished easily in 2nd in the first race, but in this race he fell back a bit, fell to the pressure of James, and you know, I think he's still in a great position for the finals, but I think he realizes that the competition here is stiffer than maybe he thought.
Well, I would say it was a Sunday drive, but it's Saturday here in Washington, but it's actually Sunday over there. So if you do the math, Chic Pizza, it really was just a dominating performance for him. Him and Jay Rich looking really good. Let's take a look at the race 2 official results for Group B. It was Chic Pizza on top, James with a nice 2nd place finish, Dutuzu in 3rd, Paraxeline in 4th, Hydrogen in 5th, Yonder at 6, Stormy down in 7, and then Dante actually finished this one, but he's at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, and congratulations to Paraxeline. You know, he struggled in that first race. He couldn't get in race the Group A races, so glad he finished in a pretty good position in race 2 there.
So both of the races in for Group B. So let's take out the total view of what happened in Group B. It's Chic Pizza on top with those 50 points, Dutuzu with 33, James with 30, Hydrogen with 25, Paraxeline just going to miss the cut down in 5th. Yonder, Stormy, and Dante wrap up Group B.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to Chic Pizza just driving his race. not needing to do more than he needed to do, and he won. And now he's facing off against some big dogs in the Group A.
So Group B is in the book, so let's give you the total picture. The 8 guys that are moving on tomorrow. It'll be Jay Rich. He'll be in that pole position on the grid. Chic Pizza will be in number 2. Third is Dutuzu. Hawking is in 4th. Viper D in 5th. James C will be in 6th. Easton Chin down in 7th. And it will be Hydrogen will be the final guy making it in tomorrow. So those are the guys making the grand final over there in ChinaJoy. Hey, the Chevrolet Cup, we've seen some good racing here. Let's bring Allie in. Allie, we're so far away from you, but we had some great racing today. What'd you think?
The sun setting on the first day of the Forza Racing Championship Chevrolet Cup. 2 teams came into the competition super strong, 5 drivers each for Tama and MGC. Leaving today, only 2 drivers remain for Tama, while 4 will proceed to the finals for MGC. So it's really going to come down to the line. The underdog team, what can they do? Well, it's definitely a dominant force here in the Chinese Forza scene in MGC. Alongside that, there's privateers to look out for as well. It's going to be a great day tomorrow, so certainly tune in. We'll bring you all the action in this great competition.
All right, Allie definitely heard us rag on him earlier. That was an excellent job wrapping the show. And I don't have much else to put on top of that. I think we saw some good racing, some privateers that worked their way up. I think you saw 2 teams really emerge, especially you know, with Viper kind of leading Tama, and then let's be honest, the guys with GSC were, I mean, MGC were very dominant. In this first day of the ChinaJoy Invitation.
And isn't it funny, at the top of the show, we're like, well, Viper's the clear favorite here.
Yeah.
But here we are, Jay Rich sort of took things, now in that race 1 in Group A, we had that last minute thing happen at the final curve where Jay Rich took it. But it's funny how our expectations, these guys, even with ForzaRC competitors from Le Mans competing here in China, we're not exactly sure what's going to happen tomorrow, so got to tune in.
Yeah, same time tomorrow. It'll be noon on the East Coast, 9 on the West Coast. It's worth waking up on a Sunday morning because we're going to have an excellent grand finals from Shanghai, China. For Allie, all the folks over there in Shanghai that's been bringing you some excellent racing today, for Brian and myself, we'll be back tomorrow with more Forza Racing live from Shanghai.